Okay, so this is similar to what we had down on the last examples. Again, you have a fraction inside the parentheses with an exponent on the outside. You're going to basically distribute that exponent to both the numerator and the denominator. So what that will look like will be 3 to the negative second over 2 to the negative second. And like we said, basically anytime you have negative exponents and want to make them positive, you have to switch sides of the fraction. So this will actually come to the bottom and become positive, and this will come to the top and become positive. So that will now look like 2 to the positive second, okay, on top, and then 3 to the positive second on the bottom. And then that's pretty simple to simplify from there. 2 to the second is 4, and 3 to the second is 9. Okay, so 4/9 would be your answer there. Okay, so this one will be a little bit more complicated. So basically you start by, again, like we did over here, distributing this exponent through. So we're going to take the 4 and we're going to distribute it to the numerator and the denominator. And remember, one thing I didn't mention over here, but this is the power of a power rule that we've talked about, where if you have a base raised to an exponent and then raised to another exponent, you multiply those numbers. So this x to the 4th becomes x to the 16th, and then same thing with the bottom, y to the negative 2 to the 4th. You multiply these two and you get negative 8, so that is y to the negative 8. Okay, same thing on the other side. This y to the negative 4th to the negative 3rd, this is a power of a power. You have one base with two exponents, you multiply them. Negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. So you have y to the 12th, and then same thing with the bottom. You have x to the negative 2 to the negative 3rd. Multiply these two numbers, you get x to the 6th. Okay, so now with these, you can actually just bring these together and make one big fraction. We have x to the 16th. Leave everything where it's at. X to the 16th, y to the 12th. And then on the bottom we have, I'm just going to put this in numerical order, or alphabetical order. But move the x to the front, x to the 6th, and y to the negative 8th. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is make sure we make this positive. The way we do that, like we've said before, anytime you have a negative exponent, just move it to the other side. So since this is on the bottom, we'll move it to the top and make it positive. So then we're left with x to the 16th, y to the 12th, y to the 8th, and x to the 6th. All right, so a couple things we can do to simplify each variable. First, with the x's, this is a quotient of the powers, because again, I'm gonna move this way so I don't run out of room. X to the 16th over x to the 6th. So if we have a quotient of a power, same base being divided, you subtract the exponents. So I keep the base of x on top, x, and then 16 minus 6 gives you 10. Okay, so we get x to the 10th. This one with the y's, these are being multiplied. They're both on the top, so they're being multiplied. Same base, this is product of a power. Same base being multiplied, you add the exponents. Okay, so you keep your base of y, and 12 plus 8 will give you 20. So there's your final answer there. X to the 10th, y to the 20th. These last couple problems told you to, I think the directions said to write them without any fractions. So the way you'll do this is, it looked like the three examples you had, or problems you had, were all like factors of 10 or whatever. So here we need to change this into where it will have an exponent. So we leave the 7 on top, and then 1,000 is just 10 to the 3rd. But again, we don't want to have a fraction, so we need to move this to the top so the fraction goes away. And if we're going to move this to the top, that's going to change the sign on the exponent. So since it's a positive 3, when we move it to the top, it becomes negative 3. So then when we move it to the top, your final answer is 7 times 10 to the negative 3rd. All right, so last one here, same thing. We want to get everything to become, we don't want a fraction. So the way to get rid of a fraction is you just move anything in the denominator to the numerator. So that should be pretty simple. And again, like we've said, like I've said multiple times, anytime you move something from one side to the other, it just changes the sign. So what that means is we're going to leave 9x squared, x to the second, because we want that on top. It's already there, we leave it there. But now we need to move this y to the negative fourth to the top, okay, because we want to get rid of the fraction. So y to the negative fourth, if we move it up, it's going to switch the negative 4 to positive 4. So y to the positive 4. And then same thing with the z. But now if the z goes to the top, instead of it being 6, it switches to negative 6. Okay, so then we have z to the negative 6 on top. Okay, so your answer would be 9x squared plus y to the fourth, z to the negative 6.